Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I am going to do a what sold video today from the items that sold between the 8th and the 14th of July, 2025, which is 7 days. It's going to be a pretty short video. We didn't have many sales. In fact, just as a little spoiler alert, we actually made the lowest amount we've made since the last week of February. So it's been pretty slow, but that's okay. I'm still continuing to list every single day, and as I've mentioned before, I'm doing that by scheduling my listings on Poshmark. And then I every couple days I will come up here to my workroom and I will cross post those items onto Mercari and eBay. I know it would be best for me to cross post those daily, but at the moment, this is just what I'm doing. I kind of have to wait until we make a few sales so that I can get some empty envelopes, which is what we store our items in, so that I can cross post the new items and put those items into the empty envelopes. I'm trying to clear out some more space on some shelves in our this is the master bedroom, in the master closet, which is a very small walk-in. And then I have another shelf here I used to use for hard goods that I'm going to try to use for some storage just because I'm running out of space. I'm just trying to get up to that 1,000 listing goal that we had made earlier this year for 2025. We're at like 950 right now, not counting the few items that are getting listed today. So I'm really happy that we're getting so close to 1,000. But like I said, we're running out of space. I definitely think 1,000 is going to be about what our space can handle right now, unless we figure out another storage solution. But anyway, all right, enough jabbering. I'm going to get into our solds. We only sold 3 items on Poshmark this past week, which included a Liz Claiborne swimsuit, an Anne Klein skirt, and a vintage Y2K or 90s midi denim dress in a plus size 1X. I was happy with these sale prices. This was just an item that I had gotten out of it's like they call it the intimate spin at our Goodwill, which is $1.99 plus tax. This Anne Klein skirt, I think my mom gave me to sell. So I think this was I can't even remember what we consider the cost of goods to be. I might have just counted it as our Goodwill pricing for skirts or whatever, which is about $4.48 after tax. And then this denim dress we got at Goodwill, which is $5.55 after tax. As I've shown before, I have this sheet that keeps all of our items that we list. This is like kind of I wanted to start it as our sourcing date, but it's really become more of the listing date, the sell date, the item, the cost, where it sold, how much it sold for, the fees, and then our total profit is at the end. And that's how I calculate the sales, the total profit, when I make these videos. And so I've gotten so used to looking at that price list that now I know how much all of the shirts, pants, dresses, and all those kinds of types of things are after tax when I'm putting in cost of goods. So that's all that sold on Poshmark, and the total profit was $30.24. And surprisingly, we profited more on those 3 items than we did with 6 items on eBay. So, yeah, kind of a cruddy week with sales, but it is what it is. No sales on Mercari, and then we'll go over to eBay. We sold this basic faith polyester kimono. It was just something super cheap I had gotten at Gabe's. If you don't have a Gabe's, it's like I don't really know how to explain it. It's like a really cheap version than a Marshall's, and cheaper in like 2 ways, in like less expensive but also just not as good quality. And a lot of the stuff that I've noticed they get there was like they had like a huge section of things that they get from like Amazon, and like so they're not really branded with like an actual name brand. And so this was kind of one of those items. As I don't know, like I don't think Basic Faith is anything other than something that sells on Amazon for probably about maybe $15. So I knew it wasn't going to get much for this. I think I originally did have it priced for like 12. I paid like maybe $1, $2 for it. Whenever Gabe's first came to our town, my mom and my husband and I went, and we found a bunch of items for like $3 or less. And so I just kind of wanted to experiment with some of this. This was years ago, and I'm just now finding some of this inventory and getting it listed. It did, like I say, sold for $10.20, which was an offer from the person who was interested in it. And we paid the transaction fees, which is just like the fees that eBay has. This was for the shipping label, which was paid for by the buyer. And then I did have this as a promoted listing, so that got 39 cents taken off. As I mentioned in another video, I'm not doing promoted listings anymore, just at least for a couple months. I'm just experimenting because I am running those monthly 30% off sales, and I'm going to see if that makes any bit of a difference. Next is this women's fishing shirt. And I don't think we knew it was a women's when we bought it, but we got it at Goodwill. So it was what did I say, 448 after tax. And this was definitely old inventory, but we just got it listed now. I'm sure we bought this a few years ago and it sold for $10. As you can see, all these really low sell prices, and then getting the fees taken off on top of that, we're not making much profit here. This I've had since college. I got this at Goodwill, so 448 for a skirt, and I wore it throughout college, and it just now sold for 10.50. I think I'd had that listed for maybe about a year. This was an item we more recently listed. As you can see, the white background, but not like the stark white background that was removed, but just like the white wall, which is from what I painted here last year in our workroom. And these sold for $12. This is just a Walmart brand, Time and True, but I think I had probably gotten them on clearance for like $1. And so small profits, but at least it's a profit. A Blessed Girl t-shirt from the Goodwill bins. So I paid $2.13 after tax, and it sold for $8. And lastly, this Talbot shirt that came from my mom. So I paid her $2 cost of goods for it, and it sold for $13. Again, very, 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 very slow sales week. So our total profit on eBay was $28.55, which brings our total profit for the second week of July to $58.79. Try not to let it get me down. Summer is what, just 1.5 more months, I think, August, and then the last 2 weeks of July. So just trying to remain hopeful that if I keep listing every day, that we'll just continue to make sales, even if they're not great sales, and a little profit's better than no profit, right? All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.